Oh my god, did you hear about poetry?
I heard he's, like, famous now.
Yeah, he really blew up.
He gets fan mail, but never answers it.
He refuses to sign autographs.
He actually makes a living.
Disgusting. First he was in the adverts at the cinema. Now he's actually in the films.
Poetry is so big, he now presents the Oscars, the BAFTAs, the Grammys and the Shopping Channel, where he hands out prizes to himself.
Poetry drives by my house in a sports car at 4 a.m, blasting sonnets through his speakers.
I heard a rumour that poetry married hip-hop in a secret ceremony.
I heard a rumour they were related.
Poetry is so big he can't go anywhere without being quoted.
Poetry is always starting arguments and getting in Twitter feuds.
Poetry bathes in goat's milk and glowing reviews.
Poetry quatrains at the gym and never misses a leggery day.
I saw poetry selling his own sweat as an aftershave.
Poetry is so big, he hosts a televised competition to find America's next great poetry superstar.
Poetry is the face of a lucrative line of self-help books, where he encourages you to repeat your darkest secrets again and again until they rhyme.
Poetry is running for president and prime minister. Crowds click at all his speeches.
Last August, poetry adopted a baby. He called her Mum Break. He likes to dress her in designer onesies that look like pencils.
Poetry is so big, he's unfriended everyone under 5'3". Poetry says self-reflection is important, so he has a statue of himself in his hallway and a self-portrait in every room of his house.
He no longer uses pounds, but pays for things in dramatic pauses.
Poetry gets his followers to wash his metrical feet.
His haiku about measles, it went viral in Georgia. It was so funny. Everyone forgot to vaccinate against the measles outbreak.
Poetry won Strictly Come Dancing and was praised for his impeccable form.
Poetry?
Shh. Shh.
What?
He's coming past right now.
Oh my god. His shoes don't have holes in them.
He actually looks like he's seen sunlight.
He doesn't seem like chronically exhausted and stressed.
What a dick.
Poetry's sold out, man.
Disgusting.
A fry-up is always the answer. When the future seems too hard to digest, I like to imagine all the potential paths my life might take as items on a breakfast menu.
Baked beans on toast.
Freelance. In this future, no one can pin me down. I take odd jobs and odd gigs, slapping a Heinz-tinted view on freedom. My days are orange and hazy. I resort to photographing elbows for rent money. My artist boss does not have a fetish. In his conservatory, I eat panic straight from the tin and weep.
Bread and butter.
Climbing the ladder. In this future, I am a hot, buttered slice of productivity. I maximize my efficiency by getting rid of all the unnecessary crusts, my social life, my relationships, my eyebrows. I live productively in a broom cupboard with 12 other graduate trainees. The walls are the colour of rancid butter. The walls have air pockets. There might be rats in the walls.
Mushrooms.
Going off-grid. In the Norwegian mountain cave I escaped to, my only friends will be fungi. My only food source will be fungi. My tiny arms fail to develop the necessary musculature to sustain this outdoor lifestyle.
Fried eggs.
A baby. The baby is soft, with yolk yellow eyes. Their colour makes everything else I have ever done seem irrelevant. I spend this future shielding his body from sharp objects. My hands begin to congeal into egg white. I can't tell where I stop and the baby begins. But in the end, all these paths slide into one another. The whole thing is beginning to look like it's been dropped on the floor by an 18-year-old fry cook who was on less than minimum wage. Maybe I should stop making up grand metaphors to describe my life and just drink a glass of water, eat legumes for breakfast, start saving for a new mop.
Thanks so much for having us, by the way. It's always lovely to be here. Grizzly Pear is a night that means a lot to us. So it's been great to work with Jess as well. It's been really fun.
We've had a lot of fun over these past few weeks, just kind of getting together and getting to talk about what we love, about poetry.
Yeah.
And we've worked so well together that, as you can clearly see, we're going to start a Bruce Springsteen cover band / poetry duo. We call Double Denim. Talk to us afterwards for bookings. So.
Now that you've made that joke, I can take this off because I'm actually quite hot. I've just Yeah, we timed our set and we're like a little bit under time, so we've just got to like pad it out a bit with funny, insightful comments. Okay, this next one, it's something I wrote, I think, maybe my first year. I was quite an anxious child, and one of the ways I would try and like calm myself down as I was trying to get to sleep at night was thinking forward and imagining my future self looking back at that very moment and sort of seeing how insignificant it was. So this is called stargazing. When I was small, I made a galaxy on my bedroom wall. At night, I stood swaying in its glow, my mattress a planet of its own. And though I did not know the cliches of stars then, of their deaths predating their light reaching our eyes, of their placement apparently prophesizing our lives, of distant lovers turning to the same bright skies, I had a sense. It impressed itself upon me through the silence of the room, through the shadows of the armchair no longer large enough for two, through the clothes cocooned inside the wardrobe I'd outgrow soon, that a decade in the future the fallen moons would still shine, that the crescents would play forever in a corner of my mind, that us would turn together to the same moment in time, and I felt past, present and future collide in the gloom.
Yeah, so this next poem, I wrote it, but I've handed it to Hannah to sort of look after with all the wonderful care and empathy and fantastic performance skills that she has. And it is sort of to do with my heritage. My mum grew up in a very small village in Poland, and while in many ways it was an incredibly beautiful place, it was also a place that had a slightly darker side to it. In this poem there is some Polish, and I apologise to any fluent Polish speakers out there in the audience. I'm still getting there. But the refrain that you might hear, moja droga, basically means my darling. So we're going to go it's called Battle Madonna.
I'm on holiday in my mother's childhood village. I think I have sunstroke. My uncle is explaining his perfect woman to me.
Moja droga, moja kochana, jesteś bardzo piękna. Myślę o tobie.
She's amazing. She's perfect. She's sturdy. She lives in a church graveyard. She's
a 3-foot-tall statue of the Virgin Mary.
She's a great listener, he tells me. She doesn't interrupt when fathers and husbands come to her with their stories.
When they store their guilt in candles and lay them at her feet. Moja droga. Moja kochana, jesteś bardzo piękna, myślę o tobie.
She's beautiful, but she doesn't flaunt it. Her calm blue smile drives them crazy, and her white wrists and the folds of her robe, they never have to meet her eyes.
The sculptor hadn't cared enough to paint in her pupils.
And she knows how to take a joke.
Moja droga,
When the August rains came,
moja droga,
and her skin began to turn grey with age, the men enclosed her in the upturned hull of an old bathtub.
moja droga, moja droga, moja droga, moja droga.
They laughed and said it looked like the shell that Botticelli gave to Venus in his painting, or, failing that, a urinal. I sit on a bench in the sun, next to my uncle, thinking of all the tired women, all the tired, spent, tired, used up, made pretty, stone women. You can do this thing on your phone, where you type a few words, then use predictive
Text to get to the app, and then click on the event, and then click on the event, and then click on the event, and then click on the event.
It's the most revealing and unintelligible personality test there is.
But I don't know how to do it. But I think it's because I don't know how to do it, but I just thought it was a good time to fix it, and then I'll send it to you later.
I wish it worked better, so my poems could write themselves.
Or maybe I'll be sure to meet you guys at the house party, or maybe we can go get some lunch, or maybe I'll try to get to the house party at the house.
Perhaps in the future, I'll be able to switch my mind entirely to autopilot.
And then I'll send it to you, and I'll be happy to, but I feel like I don't want to go to the point where I just feel like I want to be a good person.
Things would be so much easier if I didn't have to think. I wouldn't have to figure out how to write about a world where everything is falling.
Apart from the fact I'm sorry, I can't make it to the house party at the house, and I don't know how to get to the app and fix it, and then click on the event, and then click on the lunch, and...
I don't know how to fix anything, but I just want to be a good person, and so maybe I'll just go to the house party and get drunk out of my mind. Or
you can do
maybe
this
we can
thing
go to get some lunch.
where you
Or maybe I'll try to
switch
send it to you
your
later,
mind.
and I will be
It's the
happy
most
to,
revealing
but I just
and
thought it was a
drunk
good time
days.
to
I
click
just
on the
wish
event,
home
and then
would
I'll
be
get
so
to the
much
app.
easier.
And I don't know how to do it, but I just thought I can't click on the make it, and I feel like I'm sorry I can't
I
feel
will write
good.
about a world where everything is autopilot. For a very long time I was writing prose and not poetry, and so this is something that kind of mixes about with the boundaries of those two forms, and it's called a lesson. One April, when the girl was 9, they arrived in the forest near her home. She met one of them in a clearing in the forest, a disappointment so normal. He even wore a hat like people do, wide-brimmed and navy. She had wanted to ask him if he'd killed a piece of the night sky to put on his head. The poacher stopped and showed her the bite marks on his leg. If you need to kill a wild pig, he said, remember something about the runt of the litter. If cornered, the runt will always fight the hardest and squeal the loudest, because deep in its bones, it knows that life has marked it out as the easiest of targets. When she returned home, she felt different, as if the world had shifted. She held on more tightly to her little brother's hand on their way to school, avoided the paths of the forest, closed the curtains of his room against the beat of dark branches. When she closed her eyes at night, she saw them, a forest floor, a row of hairy, bloody carcasses, 5 piglets, their neonatal coats not yet shed, so that the dappled brown of their hides blended into the bracken and leaves. for weeks. Wild boar were slaughtered in their droves, and the smell of blood and earth carried on the wind. Thank you.
So this is another kind of older poem that I haven't read in quite a while. I just read Seeing Stars by Simon Armitage, which was a collection of prose poems, and then I immediately wrote this prose poem. It's about a time in my life when my brother had moved to university. My dad had got a job which meant he would be travelling to London a lot. I'm from Edinburgh, so that's quite a long distance to go away. And my uncle was in hospital, so it kind of felt like everything was a bit disjointed. So this is called Big Bang. My house is expanding outwards like the universe after the Big Bang. I am not a scientist, so I don't know if that's an accurate comparison, but I do know my bed is in the corridor is in the garden, and the garden is creeping onto the street. The lawn now coats the road's double yellow lines, and a geranium stands in place of the peeling red postbox. Round the corner, letters and postcards are forming a whirlwind over the bookshop, while copies of Lockpicking for Dummies career into the bank. The local playground is swinging into an office block whose elevator pitches its way into the aquarium. Liberated clownfish flop into the circus, which runs away to the Cineworld. A remastered edition of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, due to be shown in Screen 6, is projected across the gleaming walls of the hospital on the outskirts of town, while patients wander through industrial estates and marvel at the street art. Empty warehouses crash land on the moors, and ptarmigans cry out in surprise as they are flung from their heather beds onto cold gravel beaches. I tread water in the North Sea and wonder at how this explosion, this distance, this beginning and ending erupted from such silence.
This next one is dedicated to my mum. She's a wonderful, crazy, beautiful lunatic, and I love her very much. It's called Questions a Mother Asks Google. How can I steal next door's Wi-Fi password? Why is my son obsessed with the smell of Lynx body spray? How many scented candles can I buy at once? What is a Stormzy? Does arthritis run in families? Does mental illness run in families? Does mental illness run in immigrant families? Can running help with mental illness? Will running help my immigrant family? How many times can we outrun this before we grow too tired? Did the witch in the folk tale I read as a child eat babies, or did she just curse them? Did I curse you, child? Did I curse you to wander your own brain? Does the stink of his alcohol breath still sit on my brow, no matter how often I wash my face? Did spores sprout from my skin and slip into your mouth when I hugged you? Did I not hug you enough? Should I cleanse myself? How do you cleanse yourself? Which prayer can I pick as disinfectant? Did I use too many chemicals in the laundry basket? Was the food I fed you secretly radioactive? Was there something in the wind the day of the disaster, blowing in from Chernobyl to the toxic cloud poisoning the water, the soil, the lining of my womb? Am I the reason that your mind sometimes shrinks back from the insides of your skull, that sometimes you have trouble breathing, that you tell me you have never liked yourself? Is it my fault, my boy? Is it me? In the blue haze of a room lit only by laptop light, she knows she's not being rational. She knows the human mind is more complex than the forums tell her. She shuts the laptop lid. She sings the wrong words to Rod Stewart's Maggie May. She sings it softly. Her son hates this song. She sings it softly. Sleep is so important to brain function, sings it for God knows how long, till the dawn breaks. There is light curling around the edges of the curtains, her teenage son is finally asleep in the next room. It would not do to wake him now. Thank you.
A sort of like chronological structure. So this is leaping forward a good, I don't know, depends how optimistic you are or pessimistic really. Let's say this is leaping forward to 200 years. It's called The Last Park. The gardeners enter the woodlands with the careful joy of divers descending into an aquarium for feeding time. It is a duty and an honour to tend to delicate things, and there is nothing more delicate now than oak, and birch, and grass. The perspex around the woodland is smudged from children's sticky hands and the hot breath of gaping. Even grown-ups are entranced by the faceless hazmat heroes. They carry water tanks on their backs, and keep to the paths which weave between the trees like dry rivers. Between the green, the colour of envy, of children's hands on perspex and dreams of smashed glass, green like nothing, green like how do you compare something nowhere else? That is us almost the last two poems that we've got here kind of mesh into one, so I think we'll just do them together.
Yeah, it's been so lovely to be here. The stage means so much to the both of us. It's where I first performed poetry, ever, years and years ago, and I felt so welcomed by this community. It really means a lot to be here, and you yourself.
Yeah, until Grizzly Pear, I'd only really seen poetry, I'd seen a couple button poetry videos on YouTube, and we all know that's not quite representative of all that poetry has to offer. So I'm so glad that this night exists and that I'm still doing poetry because of it. Yeah.
No one says Beck without call.
When the world is dark and pylons are tall, thin memorials, will we hoover up the last of our food?
No one says adieu without further.
Will slices of squirrel meat be a feast?
No one says eek without out.
In the desert wasteland, will we still talk of family trees?
No one says kith without kin.
When the internet is gone, will we Google burnt parchments in search of answers?
No one says throw without to and.
Will we call starvation dieting?
No one says wend without one's way.
Will we say we're going to the bathroom when there are only holes in the scorched earth?
No one says amok without one.
Will we still talk of beauty sleep when each morning we wake with dust in the creases of our face?
No one says immemorial without time.
Will we fossilize ourselves through the words we leave behind? Who will find our remnants? What will they make of us?
In the empty hospital, 2 robotic arms are lifting an invisible patient into bed.
What if no one or nothing is left to remember us?
All day, the robotic arms stack invisible patients on top of one another, like empty sandwich containers. The robot puts the lack of flesh and blood down to NHS cutbacks.
I keep reading about robots replacing us. It's making me feel uneasy about the new microwave.
The beds are turning to rust. The mattresses are heavy with mold and nesting ants. But the robot is programmed to soothe. It calculates that sometimes the safest and happiest place for a human is inside sleep.
But I had this nightmare about the MRI scanners gaining sentience and winning seats in Parliament. They didn't care for us.
When the sun limps over the horizon and drip feeds the hospital corridors with weak light, the arms wipe sweat from invisible foreheads. They play Lionel Richie through the beat-up speakers inside their left elbows.
Humanity is cocky. We always expect to be remembered. When my son visits, he never stays for very long. He leaves behind his half-eaten sandwiches, his scarf.
In the empty nurse's office, a red light flashes dimly. Distress call, please come quickly. Patients register a lack of pulse. They have registered a lack of pulse for decades. How can we care better, faster, more efficiently? We want to care.
What will I leave behind when I am gone?
A piece of the ceiling falls through the stomachs of several invisible people. And underneath the hospital, the bowels of the empty city groan.
Thank you.